Hey everybody, welcome back to Brick System Brothers. My name's Nathan Masters and I'm going over the haul of pieces that I got from Bricks and Minifigs. This is from the North Detroit store, which I looked at a little while ago. Like I mentioned in that video, I'm not local to Detroit, but I am in the area for a little while, and I wanted to be sure to make it up to this store, mainly of course because I like buying loose bulk from hobby stores, and I've gone into detail about that in actually the Omaha Bricks and Minifigs video. So lots more background about why I like bricks and minifigs, why I have so many pieces and so few minifigures. Talked about all that before, so I just wanted to look at some of the pieces. Actually, we'll start with the minifigs. I'm really happy with what I ended up with here. This fig probably has the best components. The torso is the fleur de lis pattern, so the medieval one. This torso is exclusive to the Fright Nights line from the 90s. So it was found in quite a few sets, but they were all in the same sub-theme of castle. The red helmet here, with kind of the air tank helmet, actually exclusive to one set, but it did include a couple. I think it included multiple copies, but still a pretty rare color just in terms of how many colors this piece actually comes in. It's not very old, but it hasn't been seen since that set. So kind of the torso and the helmet here, some very nice pieces. The printed boots are from the Emmett's Getaway Glider. They actually belong to one of the robotic sheriff police. And let's see, the head here is double print, smiling female head, black air tanks, and a loaf of bread. I actually have a bunch of these pieces of bread in tan from the Pick-a-Brick wall in 2019, but I don't have very many in this nugget color. So that's that minifig there. This minifig is similar with the red coloring. The torso here is the Ferrari. This is a Speed Champions Ferrari torso. There were 5 of them included in one set. I think it's this name here was the driver for that set. So it's actually a truck. It was an early example of the 8 wide Speed Champions, but it was a larger vehicle, so maybe it doesn't count. The legs are printed from the robotics kind of space invader 1990s, I think, people there. The head is Rodney Rathbone from Monster Fighters. The helmet is an old light gray pilot helmet, and the neon green visor there. So when I buy these minifigs, I bought 3 minifigs for $10. So that's probably the most efficient price point, because otherwise they do sell the individual torsos and legs and stuff, but they were asking $150 per torso, $150 per set of legs, 75 cents a head. By the time you add all those up for one fig, you're paying quite a bit. Of course, you can buy one minifig all put together for $4, or you can buy 3 for $9.99, which is about $3.33 a fig. So that is the most cost-effective way to get these pieces. And when I build these up, I try to find minifig elements that are otherwise going to be more expensive on Bricklink. Not necessarily, I really wanted to add this Speed Champions torso to my collection. I didn't walk into the store looking for this specific torso. But just based on my knowledge of Lego minifigs and pieces, I know this is going to be harder to find. And if I do want it down the road, I much rather would have gotten it for 33 cents or, built into the minifig for $3.33 than have to pick it up on Bricklink for a couple dollars. That's just my reasoning on why I get some of these minifig components. All right, the last one has this older train conductor jacket. Kind of like the older train stuff. Those prints are cool. The Kai legs were from one of his mechs. The head is Agent Trace from the Agents line, and the hat piece is another Kai element with that bandana. It's missing the bottom half of the bandana with the ninja mask. This is kind of like part 1 of 2 headpiece elements that kind of go together. And it's a really clever way to do it, because the bottom one goes on underneath the head, and then you put on the head, and then this one goes on top. And it actually kind of encloses the head completely. Yeah, so here's an example of both components together on a minifig head, where it just kind of completely encloses that. So this piece that I picked up is the top half of another one of those. And I knew it was Ninjago, I just couldn't quite remember what it actually went to, and just jogged my memory there to see. So I might have the bottom half laying around, I might not, but it does look okay on its own. Definitely looks a lot better when you have both components. So she's not from Bricks and Minifigs, but these three are, like I said, $9.99 for those. By the time you add tax, just over $10 for 3 minifigs, and that is the same price point that you buy the Build a Minifig stuff from at the Lego store. So very reasonable cost there. In fact, if I remember right, these are actually cheaper minifigs than they have in the Omaha Bricks and Minifigs. So that's why I ended up getting 3 full figs here and not 3 full figs at the Omaha one, if I remember correctly. That was a little while ago. All right, for actual loose pieces, this is the $40 bag. So like we mentioned last time, they have the $8 cup, the $20 bag, which is somewhere in here, and the $40 bag is the largest size you can get. Of course, you can get multiple $40 bags if you want to have more pieces, but I was really trying to keep it to one. Just don't want to go overboard, and I also picked up quite a few things on eBay recently, so just spreading my Lego spending over multiple different places, multiple sources. So Bricks and Minifigs, I really like what they have, and just in terms of variety, I probably could have bought 2 $40 bags worth, but pretty much fit everything I wanted into one $40 bag. I had to make a couple of decisions. I got up to about here, and there were still a handful of pieces I wanted, and I went for, the handful of pieces. I had to take out a cockpit element from the Jedi Starfighters and a couple other really large pieces that were taking up a lot of volume, but just for one piece. So, making a couple trade-offs by the end of the day, but happy with what I ended up with. I haven't really touched these since I put them in the bag at the store. I'm going to go ahead and open it up and just kind of sift through it. But I really do like to do a thorough washing on all these, so I'm not going to get down to the individual level. And, last time I looked at stuff on Rebrickable, making a digital inventory. I plan to do that here, and I'll probably still look at some of the rare stuff once I have that built up and get a final piece count, but that all happens after my washing phase. All right, that's the lot. Just look at some highlights here before I put these in the water to soak. Of course, the biggest pieces are these 2 dishes printed. So Clone Wars stuff right here, but from the early wave, so not from the recent wave of Clone Wars. Some of the earlier sets, I think these are still light bluish gray though, and not light gray. The first elements I have from the watches, for some reason this was just in the loose mix, so probably doesn't work. Probably not going to try to get it working, but these elements right here, I've seen used a couple times really creatively in mocks, and some of them do have the studs on there. So a couple of options for connection points, and Lego watch for, by the time this all factors down, just a couple cents a piece. So definitely worth picking that up. That cockpit element there. Some of the inverted versions of this piece, a little bit bulky, takes up a lot of room in the bag, but worth getting because the inverted ones with the studs here are a lot harder to find than the other side in my experience. Grab some of those. There's another one. Well, what else is interesting? Yeah, a couple pieces with stickers. Actually, I'm going to try to set these aside and not get them in the water so that they stay intact. In this case, just picking these up because they were applied pretty well. There are actually 10 or so more pieces with stickers on them, and I like the stickers, but they were applied really crooked, so I decided not to get them because, what's the point of getting a crooked sticker? I'm just going to take it off anyway. A sand blue, one of these. Haven't come across those before. I don't know, I like to get this specific wedge plate when I find it. I think they're really interesting. Lego doesn't make this wedge plate anymore, so pretty much secondhand is all you're going to be able to grab these, so I like to get those when I see them. A lot of window panel pieces. Actually, this is probably the highest quantity of these kinds of pieces in the lot. I went a little bit more heavy on those. And I also started picking up blue chairs, and by the time I had a full bag, I think I ended up with more than 10 blue chairs. And there were other colors, but I don't know, I was in kind of a funny mood and just decided, you know what, every time I see a blue chair, I'm gonna grab it. So a lot of blue chairs in here. Not that there weren't other colors of chairs, that's just the color I decided to grab. A couple more of these, talked about these in our HuTap 17. This 3x3x6 engine block. These are actually worth a bit of money if you have enough in the right color. Getting those at bulk rates, always nice. And I think from here, I'm just gonna go ahead and wash these up, start doing my digital inventory, and then by the time that's done, I'll actually have a better idea of what's maybe harder to find, what's considered rare, so that's in 3 sets or less. And then some of these pieces probably are unique to 1 or 2 sets. Definitely interesting in the case of dispersion, where those would otherwise be harder to find. So probably take a look at that as well. Not too in depth, but you know, we're talking about maybe a few of those. So I'll get these washed up and we'll go there. And just a recap of some of the pieces. Most of these out here are just kind of random, but I did want to talk about a few particular. But also some numbers. Total of 869 pieces in the bulk bag, which was after tax $42.39. So you take 4239 divided by 69, and you get 4.88 cents per piece. I use the cent per piece as just kind of a standard value measure. It's not perfect because pieces vary so widely, but it is something that you can use between when you get bulk orders like this, Bricklink orders, Lego sets can all be kind of reduced to the cent per piece value. And usually when you're buying new Lego, you want to stay under 10. When you're buying used or bulk, the lower the better. 5 is decent. Really big bulk lots, I've been able to get down underneath 1 cent per piece. But Bricks and Minifigs, especially since I'm able to pick every individual piece here that I want, 5 cents per piece is very, very good. Especially, you know, when you start looking at some of these in particular that are definitely worth a couple dollars a piece. So it's not like all of them are, but there's definitely profit margin for every piece in the lot. Almost every piece in the lot, a majority of them. 2 other numbers that I thought were interesting that I haven't necessarily done a lot with other lots before are the number of lots and the number of colors. So keep in mind there's about 900 total pieces in this lot, and after my rebrickable build-up analysis, I was able to determine there are 512 unique lots. So that just means if I have the same mold and the same color, that's 2 individual pieces, but this counts as 1 lot in the rebrickable count. So a lot is just something that's you're counting multiples of. So the total part count, you take every single piece into account, but the lot count, you're only counting, you know, how many unique items show up, regardless of how many of that unique item are present. So this is 1 lot. These 2 green ones are 1 lot, even though there's 2 pieces here and here. Some of the bricks that I ended up getting, you know, there's maybe 10 pieces in a lot. These tires, there's 5 pieces in a lot. So the lot count will always be the same or lower than the number of pieces, but the lot count here is actually higher compared to what you might find in sets or just in general because of the variety. So 512 lots in almost 900 pieces, and then 52 different colors altogether here. Lego colors is a very convoluted topic. Just starting to look at, you know, things that have been changed in and out over the years, which ones are active right now. Are colors like teal that actually went away for multiple years and then were brought back recently. And then some colors that have just been introduced recently, like our coral pink that I do not have here. But like this brown is the old version of brown. Here's the new version. So these two colors here are distinctly different, but in general, if you're looking for brown pieces, you know, you wouldn't necessarily differentiate. So these are two different colors in my color count of 52. Just another thing I'm going to try to do for these bulk lots to get an idea of the variety that is present. So look at a couple of these individual pieces here and then call it good for the video. Oh, and related to colors, a couple of the interesting ones that I like to go for are the sand colors. So able to track down some sand green, sand blue, and sand red. Just the one piece in sand red this time, and it's not all that uncommon. But this 1x2 modified plate was available in the sand red color. There's actually not very many pieces to be found in the sand red color, and it's another one that I wish LEGO would bring back like they did with teal. It's almost got kind of this gray tone that makes it very nice for working with more natural sides of builds. Modulars, I think, could benefit greatly from some sand red basic bricks, but there are not very many out there to be found. In fact, I think just recently one of my Bricklink orders was going to be my 2x4 sand red that I've been needing for a while, so maybe more on that in a little bit. So there's some colors. The sand red contributing to that total of 52 different ones. It was in one part in one lot, so that piece right there, just the one. This tail fin 2x3 with the kind of extension part on there was only in one set in 1999, and it only included one of them. So having two of these actually represents multiple sets, multiple copies of the set. Even though I don't have the rest of the pieces, this is going to be one that's maybe harder to track down if you are trying to part out that set, or if I try to build it in the future, it'll be nice to have that. And it's also nice to have two of them, a duplicate in case I want to sell one, or if I want to build something with two of those tail fins in this color, now I have both. The printed 2x4 police, kind of old style lettering on here. Rubric didn't have a part image for this, so I sent one in, along with the watch links. And there's actually a couple different styles of link. The one with the studs on it, and then I also ended up with both sides of the clasp. So the clasp that kind of hooks together, and these all have the same connection point where it's just a little bar and clip method. It's very tight compared to our other bar and clip connections of Lego pieces. So I don't really want to be taking these on and off as often as I thought I might when I picked these up. But interesting thing to have in the collection nonetheless for 5 cents a piece. It's not bad. And this guy right here is from, I forget what it's called, the Lego Racers 2 video game that Josh and I have played on occasion. The final stage in that game is based on the Zalix world, and this is the car that those guys drive. So you're racing against these little 2x2 minion people, and they drive these little cars with the colorful wheels. And this is the physical version of that car from the Racers sub-theme in the early 2000s. And actually, when you hit this bumper right here, it has this function that looks like, if I had one of the guys, I'd be able to test it, but I don't. It looks like it's going to catapult something off the side of the car, and then on the front and back, there's a little area to build on top of with maybe some fender pieces or standard bricks or whatever you want. So a piece that I wasn't necessarily, dying to get a hold of, wasn't on my Bricklink wanted list or anything, but definitely something I'm not going to pass up if I see it in the mix, especially in the bulk lot from Bricks and Minifigs in Detroit. The rest of these here, some of the tires that I set aside as I was building out my inventory, some of the stickered elements. This one was in one set. Facility might come in handy, kind of a generic sticker, that's why I got it. Some Speed Champion stuff here. I think most of these were out because I didn't have baggy, like a lot of pieces I've been sorting into bags based on piece type. So the slopes are easy, you know, it's all slopes in the same bag. I can sort those out later. Some of these I think I just left out because they don't really have a good home. And we'll close it out with the 2x2, or 3x3 rather, curved plate with the cutout. This is from the Minions brick built lair that was supposed to release in connection with the Minions movie, or Rise of Gru, or yeah, that was it. And that got delayed because of coronavirus. So some of the other LEGO sets got delayed, but this one didn't. So this set was out last year, and it introduced this new element. Now it's starting to pop up in some other sets as well. So this is now available in white in the latest Creator Expert vehicle, the Porsche. So got a hold of a yellow one. This is a very recent piece, so I was kind of surprised to see it in the mix of loose pieces at the store. So the store video went up a little while ago, and now this is kind of just a summary of my parts haul. And if you see something in the mix, if you saw something in kind of the wash up or earlier in the review that you want to know more about, just leave a comment. I'm trying to go a little bit lighter on this content because, you know, there's 900 pieces. I don't want to go through every single one, but I did want to recap some of the ones that I thought were interesting and important, so hopefully kind of be in the middle there. Again, just drop a comment. I can do more footage, more content about anything that you see here. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time on Brick System Brothers.